What's up, guys? So today I'm talking about the Can Am Outlander Max XT. We took it on some trails and I'm back with some feedback. I got pros, cons, and things I kind of like about the bike and maybe kind of don't. So let's start off with that. Taking this bike on trail made me realize that this bike was meant for trails. I mean that entirely. I'm gonna go over some things that I really liked about the driving experience. So first things first, this thing has a low and a high gear. I would say low gear is like if you're trying to crawl up a hill, or if you were trying to, like, I don't know, slowly get through some mud. But for the majority of the time, I had this thing kicked in high gear, two-wheel drive, and was just eating up some trails. So you got the four-wheel drive lock in and out, but you don't really know if it's engaged. So you can pretty much be in two-wheel drive, and when it starts to slip, whatever the technology is called, I can't remember at this time, but the four-wheel drive, your front differential will essentially kick in when it starts to spin. So you still get that drivability, but when you need four-wheel drive, it's there. And you can pretty much run it on the trail the whole time if you wanted to. But I didn't. I mainly kept it in two-wheel drive, and when I needed a boost up a hill or through some thick mud, it was no issue to just stop real quick, throw it in four-wheel drive, and just continue on. That being said, I did keep it in for the four-wheel drive for a longer period of time, and had no issues. I didn't see any difference in the driving because, again, it only kicks in when it's needed. So something I really liked about it as well is when you were going downhill, you had a lot of engine brake, which meant it really saved my brakes, and it didn't make me have to like hit my rear brakes or my front brakes and slide potentially. Like if I was going on a really steep hill and I was going downhill and it was rocky and wet, I didn't have to worry about sliding at all because the engine brake was so predominant on this bike that it really didn't even require me to use brakes, which was incredible because, again, it's a safety thing, but it's also just almost too easy to drive this bike. You're really using throttle and essentially almost no brake unless you have to really stop the bike, because as soon as you let off the throttle, like, you're getting engine braking, and that is just, it feels good. Another thing specifically to this model is it has power steering. The power steering on this makes it feel like it is just floating on a cloud, really. You're not, even if you are on a rocky trail, you're not really fighting the bike to maneuver at a slow speed. It's very controllable. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's very hard to explain, but the seat on this is phenomenal. I mean, the comfort level is top notch. I can ride all day on this bike and not feel uncomfortable. My butt's not feeling sore from being on something hard. This thing feels like a pillow. It is awesome. So if you get a chance to sit on one of these Can-Ams, that's probably the first thing you're gonna notice. And it's like that in the rear as well. The second passenger seat is just as comfortable, almost as the driver's seat, which I think that makes a big difference. And I mean, even on the backside of the passenger seat, it's very comfortable. And this really does fit like a full-size adult just fine. And I'll show you real quick. Just sitting on the back of this bike, very, very comfortable. And I could ride there all day if somebody else would drive me around. Now, one big thing that Can-Am did to this bike to make it a little bit different is that they chose to put the exhaust toward the back, so that it would mitigate the heat coming from here, the engine bay area, for the driver. And I will tell you, there is no heat coming from here. It is very, very minimal, and that's obviously a plus. But I'll say that you notice the heat will rise out of this like shift selector area. I guess you just notice it more, I'm not sure, but it gets pretty hot here at times. Another thing that happens is that because this awesome little compartment they give you is right above the engine, this too will get pretty hot inside. So if you have a phone in there and you're riding all day, It will get a little warm, but it's not overheating your phone type of deal. The front trunk feature on the Can Am is extremely useful for just general storage. There's nothing wrong with packing like a jacket like this in here, or maybe some straps or something that you can just throw in there. Even sometimes we'll throw a snack in here. But the issue that I have with this is that if you don't shut it in, so when you shut it, you almost have to push the backs upward to make sure that this thing is locked really well. I know personally, I've got on the road, going from trail to trail, doing about 40-45 miles an hour. This thing comes up, and the only thing that saved it was the security cable, because it literally came off the hinges. This security cable saved it, and that that was not cool at all. So and there's not even to my knowledge, there's not a feature that will lock this in, even if you had like a padlock or something. And it almost makes you want to put a bungee from here to here just to keep this lid down, just in case. And that kind of sucks, because from the factory, I don't think I should put bungee straps or other security measures on my front trunk thing, just to ensure that it doesn't smack me in the face while driving. But I think it's a great idea. I just wish the locking mechanisms were a little bit better. So one thing I really love about this Can Am, and I'm telling you, it's a perfect trail bike. The stance is just mean. It really is. It's a good looking bike, but it also has a lot of ground clearance. This bike stands pretty tall, and it's not just the Can Am Outlander, but this Max is actually taller than my wife's Can Am Outlander 700 without it being a Max. So this thing is just extremely aggressive. Great stance, good ground clearance, and it really performs well. So oddly enough, one of my more favorable features is that you get this full-size hitch that you can pull a utility trailer around with, and that's just pretty awesome for me, because I don't know a lot of four-wheelers that have this feature, but it also has these really nice tow recovery strap hooks that you can hook in at the hitch receiver, instead of, you know, putting it on the bumper or something and risking pulling this off. So I think this thing was just designed really well. I mean, it's a very sturdy bike, and you know, getting to it to do maintenance, it's also a breeze, and I'll show you that real quick too. So one of the things that Can Am did is they put these panels on to make it easier for the user to get inside the engine compartment as compared to previous models. And really all you do is flip this guy up here and pop your seat off. And there you have it. Mine's got dirt on it, just to prove that we actually use this thing. But again, it's very it's very easy to get in here, and I did that in real time. I don't really do that much anyway, so it should show you somebody like me can get into this thing. Clearly I need to clean it up, but you know, it's not hard to get in here. So one thing that I kind of noticed is, obviously this is a whole lot easier to shift the gears. Like, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it at all. But I'm going to show you here, when you switch into the reverse, it almost thinks it's in reverse if it's in park. Watch here. So that's park. Push it up. It says it's in reverse up here. I know that I'm not going backwards, but it just shows reverse, and I think that kind of sucks that it does that. I mean, I think it's a computer issue, but again, now I'm in reverse. But sometimes if you don't pull it all the way down, it's that minuteness you see in the bottom right hand corner here, that will show that it's in reverse. It is clearly not. I am not moving anywhere, but it just kind of peeves me a little bit. and now it says it's in park. So one of the things that I'm griping about so far here. Otherwise, I mean, I'm digging the bike. So that's my current feedback on the bike after I've taken it on a couple of trails. Hopefully Can Am sees this and maybe they can address some issues that I've mentioned in some next generations. But if you're looking at one of these Can Am Maxes, I definitely recommend it. I think it's one of the better four-wheelers on the market, and if it's my opinion, it's the best two-up on the market. So if you're interested in anything else, you want me to go over some other things that I didn't, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to address those. All right, have a good day.